New year, new challenges, and today I'm going to try to make a track by using only 3 notes. Please keep your expectations low for the track, so let's start. The first thing that I'm going to pick is my favorite scale. This will be the F minor. So the minor scale is one of the most utilized scale in melodic techno, and the notes that I'm choosing is basically F, the root, C, the 5th, and C sharp, the 6th. So right before we start with the track, let me quickly explain why I picked this and how this scale works. The first thing that you should understand in a key is stable and unstable notes. Those stable notes in a minor key is the first note, so F, the third one, and the 5th one. So these notes, when we hear them in a minor scale, we feel like we don't need to resolve them into something. But if we consider the 6th, this one, it feels unstable and it feels like we want to feel accomplished if this note goes to the 5th, for example. So one of the cool thing in melodic techno is many tracks actually avoid using the 7th, this guy. So basically this means that this unstable note, the 6th, can also kind of resolve into the 1st by going up. So just like that. But the difference is, especially when you resolve from 6th to 5th, it will give you more kind of darker vibes. Let me illustrate with a simple chord. Compared to this one. It gives more like an upbeat vibe. We don't need to go deeper than this. I will also explain things in the chord progression. So the first thing that I want to do, I had kind of a plan in my mind before we start. I heard this chord progression, this guy basically. I think I heard it for the first time in a classic song and I really wanted to use it, so I thought this video could be a really nice idea. So what we are going to do, I'm going to pick one of my favorite songs from Repro. Let me bring it that. So there is one preset that I would like to use for this track. I used it in my previous track Wheel as well, and it is on Repro. Let me show you. I think this was the starting point was a preset. I just changed it slightly and it sounds like this, to be honest. So we are basically going from this chord, 6th. It's just so dramatic, it's just so melodic techno. But there are really different tricks that we can do. So in the beginning, we can start maybe something like this. Let's go a bit upper. And then we resolve into this one to this. So again. And if we call it back to the Ableton, it looks like this. The one cool thing that you can do is actually, you can make it so that, let me just do it this way. We can play with the different octaves to give different vibes. So in this case, if we start with like this one, and then let me maybe go like this. And then instead of using C, we can use the root again. So this will give even more stable note, because look at now, we have 2 stable notes and the 3rd stable note even here. So it's a very stable chord. It comes from 2 unstable C sharp. So it will sound like this. It's almost like a cinematic effect, like so you feel really confident, you feel really established. But the next chord, what we do, we can make it more dramatic. If I move this one, let's say we want to make it sharper. So now instead of using maybe C sharp again, we can put this F here, take this away. Look how it sounds. Slightly more stable, but then I'm gonna put this F to C instead. Now we don't feel as accomplished as this one, simply because we have 2 C's instead of 1 C. So this is something that you can really play around. The one thing that you can do, you can also in the meantime keep going down with the notes, so you go darker and darker and darker. So my idea is basically utilizing this one on the break and then going into the chorus. Then we will have this kind of really interesting vibe. So what I'm trying to say, let me start like this. And I'm going to take the cutoff in the, let me show you one more time. So here we have the cutoff. So if we turn this down, we can really come from the behind and then open this up. and then maybe more. Something like this. So let me put this automation down slightly and put this the chord progression one more time and come back. Okay, so basically we have this one. In the beginning, you see that I'm utilizing a bit darker notes because I want to come from behind. And later on, while I'm opening up the cutoff, I'm also utilizing more and more brighter notes. And sounds like this. So in the beginning, we have this dark note. The idea is always the same, utilizing 3 notes and changing the octaves, changing the amount of different notes and creating this really different vibe. This is the first step. So my idea is start the break with this one. So we are starting the track with the break. This is a bit unorthodox approach as well. And from break, we will jump in the chorus and the rest will be easier to fix. The second thing I'm thinking is complementing this sound with another arpeggio so that I can have something also rising up together with the pad, because this won't be able to carry the whole break. We need something to create a bit more drama in it. So let's do something like that. Okay, I just found this preset, sounds like this. So a lot of ambience in the original sound. So my idea is creating arpeggios. This is a classic, right? You create an arpeggio and build up during the break. So what I'm thinking, like maybe something like this. Again, I'm emphasizing on these 2 notes. It's basically this arpeggio, but a bit more complex version. The same notes really, but just alternating a bit more. And I'm gonna automate this one to go up the same way. So let's do that. So I just put the notes, looks like this, if you want to see it. And the idea is we start the break with this guy. Here, everything should be quiet, but then we should slowly bring this up here. So I'm taking the cutoff here, and maybe let me see how it sounds. Let's put the EQ so that we get rid of those super lows. I don't want to hear them. Beautiful. Probably we want to bring this one a bit earlier so that we have a silence here. There we can just kind of make the build up. If you are enjoying the video up to now and if you feel like it's adding something to you, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. It helps a ton. It keeps me motivated to make more videos like this. But other than that, let's continue. Good. I think this is good enough to really think about the break later on. Now, so my thought process is like this. Now I have the main elements. I can of course put a lot of other things to support this, but main idea of the break is here. So I need to complement this kind of with the chorus. So again, the idea with the chorus is just having these guys, like really continuing and dropping. We will drop this into the chorus, so we will be using more or less the same idea. But now we have to fix the rest of the things in the track. So I'm thinking like the hats and the kicks and the bass and so on. So let's start with the kick. I'm gonna go my kicks basically, or my Mercurial Core Premium Artist Pack. So that I should have the nice kicks over there. I think I like this live after kick too. And we are going for this ethereal vibe, so this will work. 4th to floor sounds like. I'm gonna make it a bit darker. So basically this OTT just cutting off the highs. Slightly better. I want to go a bit safer with this one. So I'm just gonna start with the driving bass sound, something from my preset pack. So the sound, basically playing F all the time. So let's pick that. I think I just overdid the bass a little bit, but I basically had this idea. And I layered it with the different basses, so to get this kind of really big driving vibe from it. So the first one was this guy, just from my Pigments preset pack. Kind of super so fat classic bass sound, creamy bass sound. And on top of that, I had this driving layer. This is also stereo to give this kind of stereo image on top of that. And then we have this classic drive, sidechain the kick. And then finally, and simple super sub bass, sidechain the kick. Just fills up the rest of the space. And together with the kick, they sound like this actually. The one thing maybe a bit interesting here is this parallel aggressor, just to make the bass a bit pluggy. I know that it's really hard to hear, but it's just basically changes the envelope and makes it a bit slappier so that this driving feel is better. Now we should probably fix the hats, so let me quickly come up with some hat groove here. Okay, so we have basically classic hi-hat layer of melodic techno. This is something that I use a lot with almost all my stuff. Again, just from my preset pack or sample packs. The first one is simple 8 hats, like tick, 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 a bit more relaxed, but a bit still driving. And white noise hats on top of that. And together. It feels a bit overkill. We can probably make it a bit less like this. And then finally, a third layer to make it more organic. I will come back and make it just video about making your drums better with simple stuff. It is on schedule, probably it will be the next week. But the final one, this one sounds like this. The main reason it sounds like this is that we have 2 different layers, and then on layers we have these LFOs that just randomly change the attack of the sound, so every hit is slightly different. And on top of that, you see that we change the groove slightly all the time, so this creates this kind of randomness in the hats. And together, really cool. The other thing maybe we should fix now is simple background pads to warm up. So at the moment it's a bit too cold for a melodic techno track. So the simplest way is just, you can use any synthesizer basically, but I am gonna use Serum to show you how easy actually to warm up a track. You can go for a unison here. The only thing that you need to go for unison so the sound is a bit warmer, and put a filter like this. So there is like nice background sound in the behind that really establishes the warmness in the track. I'm gonna just leave it here now, and what we're going to do, we're gonna play it. So let's record it. It looks like this. I'm gonna make it a bit more. Let's quantize this. Yeah. Now we can go back to the sound and make it slightly smoother. A bit attack, a bit release, a bit just like that. I'm gonna go here. A bit reverb. Maybe compression after reverb. So that even the reverb sounds like the original. It's together with the track now. The one thing that we should add here is the sidechain to the kick, so that we can feel the pump on the pads. So the kick. Look, we had made almost a German flag on top of that, even though blue looks like black, so it's almost like a German flag. The one thing that I want to go a bit more experimental in this track is the clap, because we had this big break, and when you have big break, having this kind of ambient clap really helps. I use this one, for example, in one of my older tracks in usefull, and I think it could be nice to use it here, and I really receive a lot of questions about how that clap is made, so let's do that. So what I'm going to do, first let's put a kick from my sample pack. So I have this analog style clap sound. The important thing over here is creating another channel, audio channel, and listening to the original clap. You can also use it on the return channel, but I like to do it this way because it's just easier to keep everything here. Otherwise there is like a 10 different return channels, and I really hate it when it happens that way. So we're going to listen from the same 14, so the clap. So we're going to put in, and we're going to put the post effects. So if I solve this now, channel. Not enough. We're going to grab an echo. You can use any delay in this case. The important thing is using ping pong because I want to have it right and left all the time. And we're going to put it into full 100%. And if I listen to it now, and I'm going to bring down the feedback so that I only hear once. And together with the clap now, look what happened. The idea here though, putting another utility and automating the gain so that reverb or that delay, pan delay or the ping pong delay is not always there. So you can make it almost like a build up. Let's say we want the, and here maybe we don't want, and then we want again, right? So I'm going to put it like this, I'm going to put it like this and duplicate it once. So let's hear what happens. Maybe we can even do it like this. Maybe something like this. Let's try. Then it goes too fast. Let's try. Yeah, this is pretty cool. So let's do something like this. Yeah, and then we just copy it. Pretty dope technique. That's not enough. What I feel works really nicely with this one is you're gonna get another white noise. I'm gonna bring in serum. Use the white noise here. Let me pick something like analog, maybe white, and then we're gonna go for high pass filter so that we don't get super lows like that. We'll cut off here. So if I play, this is just white noise. What really cool is if you create something like this, and let's put a note like that and loop it and look together with the clap now, how it sounds. They just complement them really nicely. The other thing that I tend to do oftentimes, I don't know if I'm gonna do this one because then that will be too many things, is like adding one more clap sound, but the second one will be a bit more different, like a bit more open, a bit splashy. So if I go to my preset samples again, and you just do it like every other bar, something like this. And finally, you have to glue them together, especially that one. And I also want to utilize a reverb on top of that to put everything in the same room. You can also use the sand, but I like to kind of use the reverb here like a design element. So I'm going to bring it just before it. Don't cut the high, take off the chorus, bring the wet down, make it slightly. You can really go super crazy with this one. I remember in my track, I panned them a lot and I had like 4 different claps. Every hit was different, so I'm being a bit lazy here, but you can basically make every hit different and react differently and pan differently. Reverb times can change and so on. You can really go crazy here. But together with the track, before going super crazy, sounds like this. So I feel like the envelope should have been better for this one. Now it's more like a hi-hat than just single hit. For a full track, we almost have everything that we need. So let's consider again what we have done, right? First, we made these 2 elements, the hooks of the track. So we will remember this element when we listen to the track. And then we had the groove elements for the chorus. So when we add these 2 together, it will be like complete for the chorus. And probably in the beginning of the track, we can just take these guys and create kind of intro and move into the break. So what I'm going to do now is going back and complete the track, right? Put the automations down as well and come back so that we can take a look one more time, whole thing, and see how it works together. All right, this is the full version of the track. First look, you may think, what just happened? I don't know. It's the regular producer things, right? You sit down and then you suddenly add a billion different things that you didn't consider in the beginning. But all of the things that I add is more like a transitions and effects and so on, not really many different things. I had a lot of backups, tried things, but I didn't like them, so I scrapped them. Grouped the main low end here, so let's write the low end here, to be honest. And then we have the hats, and I added the rim shot in the note of F, so we are in the same note. If you don't know how to look at the note of a percussion, just try to find the resonant sound, in this case here. Dominant sound, if you just hover your mouse, right at that point, the Ableton equalizer or the spectrum will tell you which note it is. So in this case, if you like take a look at here, it will show here we are on the F. So tune and nice. Sidechain to clap rather than the kick. And then we have our claps here. And then for the pad part, I have one more layer. This one are the serum pads. And on top of that, we have this diva pad just from my preset pack again. This is just comes in the first kind of verse to give a bit more ambience together. Playing the same notes but one octave above, so it's brighter. These are just the C, C sharp or 3 notes again, just give this kind of ethereal techno ambience effects. So if I play it, you will understand exactly what I mean. Sounds like this. This is just a classic ethereal techno thing. You just add this delay effect at the end of like a 2 bars, 4 bars, 8 bars, just to create this drama ambience. And then that was just another thing that I didn't use, and another thing I didn't use. Delete this one as well. Okay, this one is another bass. This one is used, and it's basically the chord progression C sharp F, C sharp F. But in the beginning, this one is really reverbish and really ambient and really low sound. So I wanted to have another bass sound to make it super deep here. This is just the beginning of the break, so if I play all together, it will make more sense. So it's really dark and deep. That's the reason I added another bass here. And then of course the automation and so on. What I did after the break, I changed the notes just like this, and it sounds like this instead. It has this super ethereal techno vibe, and the reason being is that I have echo at this 87%, so it's super wet sound. But here it was the notes that we use, so this creates kind of this just tension and change in the track. And then we have our automations big time, like EQs and automated everything to make dark and then small and the big. I supported this one with the high patch, sounds like this. Similar sound, but this one a bit more, to my ears, a bit sweeter. So in the beginning it's louder and it goes down. Together they sound like this. I get the tremolo effect by Autopan, just using it the really high amount and phasing to 360%. So it's volume automating the sound basically. And then I have a lot of transitions. I recycled from my older tracks, most of the transitions that comes from my other tracks, just to save a bit time. So you will remember those sounds, I think. But let me start to end, and you can hear the full track and see how a track that is made by using 3 notes sound like. And let me know if you like it. So let's go. And yeah, this was the end. This is something that I used a lot with my students when I was coaching, and I really invite all of you to join. And I will give you a week, so make your track and send it to hanna@mercurialtones.com. I will put the mail address on the screen, and I will pick a winner in a week time, and the winner will get €100 Mercurial Tones voucher, so that you can get all those presets and samples for free. But the most important thing is just challenging yourself to come up with ideas. It could be really entertaining to join the challenge and make something. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you learned something, and I will catch you in the next one. Goodbye.